question about leaving your body when you're ready to go to sleep, and then it yanks back really quickly.
And then there's a bit of a jitter feeling as well, a bit of upset.
It feels like the whole body is moving when it comes back so fast, but it's not even, you're not even asleep a minute.
Yep.
So
what happens when you go to sleep? The primary sensory apparatus becomes your spiritual body. So I don't know if everyone's aware, but I know Katerina is, but I'll just draw this for everyone. Your basic construction at the moment is this. You have a soul. For me, it's male, so it's a masculine soul, connected to a masculine spirit body, connected to a masculine physical body. Yep. For a female, it's the same. Spirit body and physical body. Yep. Now, when you go to sleep, the spirit body and the soul pull away from the physical body, and there is a cord that joins the two, which is called a silver cord. It's a name that we give it when we're spirits. It's a sort of like a cord. It goes from the base of your skull right the way down to your tailbone. It's a physical thing that connects your bodies together. And it stretches every time you go to sleep. It's like a physical cord that stretches. Makes sense? Yeah?
Is it the same when you will die?
When you die, it snaps. Yeah, it actually separates and snaps.
Yeah.
Yep. If it doesn't snap, then you're not dead.
No.
Right. So people who are able to be resuscitated, the actual cord has never snapped, because if it snaps, you cannot be resuscitated. Does that make sense? Yep. Resuscitated meaning like brought back to life.
Isn't there more cords than only one cord, and that it takes some days to leave the body totally with a connection?
No, there's only one cord.
One cord.
But the cord is the transmission of all signals. So all signals from the mind and from the body of the spirit body go through this cord into this body. Yep.
So it takes some time? Or
No, it can snap instantly. So, for example, if somebody chops off your head with an axe, it would snap instantly. Right? If somebody, if you get trauma to the rest of your body, and all of your body functions seemingly cease, but that doesn't snap, you can be resuscitated. You can be brought back to life, as the saying goes. Yeah. Yeah. So once it snaps, you cannot be brought back to life, but it does actually snap. It actually tears apart. It disintegrates.
It's just because I've heard different, from 3 days to 10 days. You know, there's the Tibetans say this and they say that.
I know a lot of people say that. But what's happening with what they're saying is that usually the person who dies then stays around their body, because they don't know what else to do. See, most people on earth don't believe they have a spirit body or a physical body, and so when they separate from the body, they often see the body for the first time, and even when the body dies, they want to stay with it. And so the energy that other people feel around the body is actually the person staying with their own body. And they'll often stay with their own body, sometimes weeks, usually when they are actually buried, or when they are incinerated, you know, with, you have that here, cremation, yes. Then they finish up going away from their body. But a lot of times people are very attached to their body, as you can imagine, and so they stay with their body even after their body has died. Yeah? And so that's what you feel, and a lot of people then describe that as some kind of connection still going on, and it is an emotional connection. So this cord is a physical cord that snaps, But that doesn't stop the person from having an emotional connection to their body,
Okay.
which they often then have for weeks,
Wow.
and some
stay
even
for
longer.
a very long time.
Some months and some even many, many years.
Yeah.
Yep, many years stay with their body. They watch their body disintegrating.
Oh,
Yeah. It's a terrible thing
Yeah.
because they don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
So they don't know what else to do. Knowledge is always the cause of that. Yeah.
I'm thinking if the soul leaves the body every night, and a lot of times they don't want to go back to the body, why then is it so common that it stays after it has died?
You mean why does it come back every morning? Rather than staying in the spirit world and dying, the physical body dying? Is that what you mean?
He means why does
Well,
Sorry, babe.
why do you stay when you die when so many times in the morning you don't want to come back?
Ah, yes, yeah.
yeah.
With the people who stay in their body, or stay around their body after they die, they always generally want to come back to their body at night. And it's just every single person is different. So every person's emotions are different. And that means that some people want to come back to their body in the morning because they like their life on earth better than they like their spirit life. Other people don't want to come back in the morning because they like their spirit life more than they like their physical life. It just depends on the emotions of the person. Does that make sense?
But, and what is it that makes them come back then to the body if they don't want to come back?
And there is a pull that when this body wakes up or starts the process of waking up, or if through the transmission, through this silver cord, there is a physical need that this body has. So for instance, you have to go to the toilet, right? Then that physical need is transmitted through the cord, because remember the cord still joins the two bodies, and it causes this to be drawn back to this body automatically to fulfill whatever the physical need is. Now, often what happens is there's light, somebody switches on a light, or there's light, through daybreak or something like that. That then causes a physical need to be transmitted through, and so the spirit body is drawn back automatically to the physical body. There's also the need to eat, and other needs, of course, as well, of this body. And those needs are transmitted through the silver cord to the spirit body, and it pulls the body back into the physical body. Right, no, keep going.
One more question. Is it what happens with the soul when the core snaps?
Yeah.
Where I'm thinking about reincarnation and so.
Yes.
Some might reincarnate fast and some don't. And why?
Do you want to know the truth about reincarnation?
Yes.
It's a very good question. And the truth about reincarnation is that almost everything you've learned about reincarnation is not true. Let's describe what is true, and then we'll compare the two about reincarnation. There is a strong belief that, and let's talk about what reincarnation is as it is currently known. There is a strong belief that once this physical body dies, obviously the silver cord is no longer intact, so we've got it like that. We've still got the soul. Notice I've drawn it like a half of a soul. So it's actually a half of a soul connected to this spirit body with another cord, which is all the sensory apparatus go through this cord. Let's call it a golden cord rather than a silver cord. Different kind of cord connecting the spirit body to the soul. You're now in the spirit world. Now there is a theory, the reincarnation theory, is that this spirit body attached to this soul can now reincarnate. So, in other words, they can find another physical body and go into it. That's the theory. Right? Now, that theory, while it might sound good initially, has a few problems with it. From a physical and logical perspective as well as an emotional one. Let's have a look at the problems. You've heard of the term soulmates? Yes?
Yes.
You've heard a term, some of you think of it as twin flames?
Yes.
Twin flames or something, so you've heard those things. Right. Okay, so here's God. God is a combination of masculine and feminine qualities. God creates children, which are also a combination of masculine and feminine qualities. Right? And when I say a combination of masculine and feminine qualities, they can be dominantly masculine or dominantly feminine, but they'll still have a blend of masculine and feminine qualities. Yeah? When you incarnate the very first time, two bodies are created for you. So every time somebody has sex and gets pregnant, there are two bodies created, not one. Two. The two bodies are the physical body and the spirit body. Spirit body and physical body. Two bodies. And the soul, the half of the soul, attaches itself to both of those bodies. Understand? So far? Any questions about that? Now, I explain all of this in a talk called The Secrets of the Universe. And there's another talk I've given called Reincarnation, if you want to know more details. So they're both on YouTube, I think. The Reincarnation talk's on YouTube, isn't it? I'm not sure about the Reincarnation talk, but the Secrets of the Universe talk is on YouTube. Now, the other half of the soul goes through exactly the same process. Somebody else gets pregnant. Let's say this one is a female body. Female body is created. Two bodies created. The feminine half of the soul attaches itself to those two bodies. Everyone with me so far? So we've got two bodies. Right now you are two bodies. Physical body and a spirit body attached to a soul. The soul is the real you, and the bodies are your sensory apparatus, like a robot, that the real you experiences the world. The real you, the soul, experiences the world physically through the physical body. The real you, the soul, experiences the spirit world through the spirit body. The spirit body has eyes, it has ears, it has a sense of smell, taste, and other what do you call them? Sensory apparatus, right? Just like the physical body. In fact, the spirit body has more sensory apparatus than the physical body does, but it's still the body. It's still just a tool or like a robot. Yes? Now, if that's the way we're created and that's the way we incarnate, and I'm saying to you that it's the way we incarnate, then can you see that if we pass from death, if we pass through the process of death of the body, only one body dies, which still leaves the other body attached to the soul. Now, there is direct proof of this. If you talk to any spirit, they tell you that they have a body. And the spirits who don't believe they have one often are lying, because the spirits who are sincere, they tell you that they have a body. So they still have their spirit body attached to their soul. Now, in the first incarnation, the soul separated and it didn't have any bodies. And at the point of pregnancy, two bodies are created, not one. Now, if that's the case, if we reincarnated without losing this body, this spirit body, then there'd be three bodies. There'd be two spirit bodies and one physical. Right? And so forth and so forth. Every time you reincarnated, you'd have another spirit body, another spirit body, another spirit body, another... And you'd end up with 500 spirit bodies, or 1,000 spirit bodies, if you think about reincarnation currently is. And I'm suggesting to you that's not what happens. What happens to reincarnate is the spirit bodies also have to die. They also have to be disconnected from the soul. And that's an entirely different process, one that I can describe to you, but it's an entirely different process than the process of death, right? Death of the physical body. Until that occurs, reincarnation cannot occur. Now, there are many spirits in the spirit world who believe in reincarnation because they were taught it on earth. And so they pass over into the spirit world still believing in reincarnation. And what would you do if you believed in it? You would try to reincarnate, would you not? And many of them do try. And they can't reincarnate. Instead, what they finish up doing is overcloaking another person on earth who is in a body. They actually finish up sharing the body of another person on earth. Right? Now, I've talked to literally millions of spirits who have done this through my life, and I know it to be a fact. And through the discussion of some of the, we might be able to have some spirit discussions that we can talk about this being a fact with you. But this is what actually happens. Now, for reincarnation to actually occur, these two bodies also have to have disappeared, and the two halves of the soul have to be rejoined. They have to go through a unification process. You follow me so far? Now, when does that occur? Well, here we are on Earth. Initially we're separate. We've got the two bodies, right? And the feminine half of the soul. And it, by the way, it could be two males and two females. It just depends on what the attraction is, and we can describe that later. I'm just drawing it what it is about 80 to 90% of the time. Once we pass, those bodies have died. They now disintegrate into the elements. They are no longer important to the whole procedure. The spirit is now living in the spirit world. Half of the spirit, the half of the soul, living in the spirit world. Right? With the body, a spirit body. Initially, the body looks very similar to the one that your body looks on Earth. It has a very similar genetic code, just different type of form, that's all. And what happens is, to actually amalgamate the two halves, you have to progress in love. You have to progress 22 times through 22 different dimensions. And it's not just times, because there's literally hundreds of things in each dimension to learn. But as you progress, the two halves go through transitions. So this is one dimensional, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And in 7 there is a major transition. And then it goes up still further. And just before the 22nd there is another major transition. The transition here is the bodies are lost, and the two halves of the soul rejoin with each other without their bodies, because you don't need them anymore. You're now one soul again. But now you're a soul that has a long history of experience, and you have a huge understanding of the universe and how everything works as a result of that experience. At this point here is when you become at one with God. Right? That's what I termed in the first century being born again. You change your form. The soul changes in that place to become soul dominant, not mind dominant. And then you continue growing, and eventually the two halves of the soul reach the point where they join with each other. And that's called, by spirits, a soul union. Once the soul is unified, it's able to reincarnate. It cannot reincarnate before then.